They're right there.
Is that how you greet your guests?
Yeah, sorry, you're in my home. Sorry, I was just
I-
chanting.
In this?
Yeah, I just got up. What?
That's so disrespectful.
You have to be respectful in front of the gods. You don't show up half naked, especially in like fluorescent underwear.
Christine's like squirming and then she's like looking at me, she's like, help me, Kane. Like, I'm like, no.
Wow, Anna just took this to next level. I like Anna.
I don't know, I see you as like a brother to me.
Oh my god.
Brother.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Hey guys, it is Sara Jane Ho and welcome back to my Etiquette reaction series to Bling Empire, episode 6. Some of you love it, some of you refuse to watch it. But as an etiquette expert living right here in Shanghai, China, I live, work, and play in the world of rich Asians. And episode 6, yes, this means 6 in Chinese, is going to be the death and spirits episode. That's right, the feng shui episode. What happens when a loved one dies? Will we ever see them again? How much of their stuff should we throw away? Have you ever seen a ghost? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, I'm excited. Let's dig in.
Straight reaching down towards toes.
I can't reach. Sorry.
Hello.
Oh, cute.
Oh my goodness. Do you wear yoga clothes with diamonds every day?
Yes.
Oh, it's yoga class. No one told me it was yoga class.
It was one of those last
I thought I was coming over for cocktails. I didn't get the memo for yoga.
Boom. So just a little bit of an etiquette thing for the first scene here. Christine had majorly embarrassed Anna at her last party. She'd made Anna lose face.
I know that in the crowd we have some anally enthusiastic folk. And Anna.
What? Me.
So payback time. And you know what? So Anna in this scene is looking to get even with Christine, majorly embarrassing her, telling her to come over for cocktails instead everybody's doing yoga. Listen, there's nothing that makes somebody feel more out of place than when they're either majorly overdressed or majorly underdressed for an occasion, and very visibly the odd one out. In fact, Kane even says to her,
Christine, what are you wearing?
we all know when a gay guy says that to you, that's like, sting. And so this is why in etiquette, dress code is so important. It's, you know, a way of respecting the host by coming in dress code. And that's why at the same time as a host, you need to make sure that your guests are coming in the same dress code so that they feel comfortable.
What's happening? This is an ambush.
Christine's like squirming and then she's like, help me, Kane. Like, I know why Anna did this. She was just to embarrass Christine.
Wow, Anna just took this to next level. I like Anna.
Part of the rules of social warfare is to never let your opponent see you sweat. And I'm not about to let her see me sweat in her dirty, haunted house.
Ooh, so even though I don't like Christine, Christine has a point, you know, when it comes to social warfare, is not to let the other person see that they've made you uncomfortable, even if you are majorly uncomfortable. That's rule number 1. Keep your cool. And that way you come across as in control, you're a lady, you're a gentleman, and nobody can ruffle your feathers.
They're right there.
Kevin. Kane? Is that how you greet your guests?
Yeah, sorry, you're in my home.
Sorry,
I was just chanting.
In this?
Yeah, I just got up. What?
That's so disrespectful.
Why is it disrespectful?
Seriously? You know, it's like when we're chanting, it's like, imagine you going to church in underwear. Oh my god, Kevin, come on, like, you know, have some like common sense. Like, it's just, you know, you want to be respectful.
That's right. I mean, Kane is spot on over here. When you're chanting, even if you're in the privacy of your own home, but as long as you're in front of a Buddhist shape or a Buddha in stone, it's like being in front of, you know, Jesus on a cross. You don't show up half naked, especially in like fluorescent underwear. Globally, and this is a similarity between East and West, no matter where you are, you have to be respectful in front of the gods. And in fact, once I was given a lucky charm that was supposed to be blessed by Buddha, and it had a couple words on it, and you know, generally it's for safekeeping. I thought, oh, okay, great, I'm gonna put this in my bedroom. And my friend was like, no, you can't put this in your bedroom. And I was like, wait, why not? And they said, because your bedroom is also a place where you get private and personal, and you cannot have this Buddha blessed thing be privy to that other side of your bedroom. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so then I kept it in my study where, you know, I'm always fully, properly clothed, very professional.
In Buddhism, when you kind of let go of all this stuff, all these attachments in life, can see that spirits are real. Spirits are definitely all around us.
I don't have closures though.
I mean, what is closure for you, sir? I mean, do you want to talk to her, like have a communication thing?
So Kane is really spot on here. In Chinese culture, and especially with regards to feng shui, when someone moves on, when they leave, when they pass away, and this happened for me and my mom when she passed away from cancer when I was 21 years old, you want to clear away their things. It's actually better for them as well. It's better for you because you're not hanging on to them, and therefore it's better for them so that they can move on from the human realm to the spirit realm. It's a way of freeing them. So I love what Kane says, which is either let it serve you or let it go. And that's what Buddhism is about. Don't be attached to stuff. And so when my mom passed away, immediately me and my dad, we went through all her clothes. We donated a lot of stuff. I kept stuff that served me, that when I looked at would make me happy. But I have a family friend, her husband passed away, and it's been, I think, like 3-4 years now. And she kept his toothbrush. I mean, she keeps his pajamas under his pillow. She's kept all his clothes. And recently, because she's had to move house, it's like 4 years later, and I visited her recently, and she was, crying, very upset, which is understandable. It's a painful thing either way. But in some ways, she's kind of delayed that moving on process. She's delayed letting him go, and she's delayed letting herself let go. So she's delayed the emotional clearing out and moving on and release process by 4 years too.
Dealing with this was wanting to wipe this clean, wanting to let this go. And there's a feeling of like, this is okay. So I just want you to know there's a complete sense of this is okay. Interesting with her, she's having me bring up scents and smells with this. And there's a reference to like perfume that mom would have had in some capacity. And there's this feeling like being with this person as they're doing this, but there's an acknowledgement of that.
Actually, the funny thing is I would bring her perfume to the hospital, spray her room.
Hilarious.
And the nurses come in like, oh my God, it smells like Chanel No. 5 in here. I wanted to make it like a homey feeling for her because she couldn't come home. She was so sick.
Watching this segment, it's really emotional for me because when my mom passed away when she was 51 and I was 21, I was by her bedside. And so I can feel what Cherie's feeling and how it was like to be in that hospital room and to see someone you love so sick and not be able to come home. I feel you, Cherie.
I care about you a lot. I just feel like, also everything's so fresh with me and Andrew. I just wasn't really in a mind space. I feel like when we went out, and I think it's just better we kind of stay friends.
Boom.
I'm trying to be honest with you. I just feel like we've been friends for so long, and I see you as like a brother to me.
Oh my God.
Brother.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. How do you tell somebody that you're not interested in them? Number one, the sooner you say it, the better. Number two, don't tell them you're like a brother to me. That's so old. I mean, that's like the cop-out. Just say, I had a great time with you, but I don't feel the spark. And by the way, drop me a comment below if you guys want me to do a separate video on how to turn people down, like people that like you, but you don't like them back in that way. How to turn them down, because it's a situation that we've all been in, just like we've all been in the opposite situation as well. We like someone and they don't like us. So very happy to do a separate video on that. I think a lot of help needed in this aspect.
Signs of my mom.
Easy's papa.
Really?
Really?
Papa means grandma in Cantonese.
In Chinese, we give very specific titles. So Cherie just said that papa, grandma in Chinese. Well, it actually means more than that. Because in English, when you say grandma, it can mean your mother's mother or it can mean your father's mother, and it's not very clear. But in Chinese, 婆婆 means your mother's mother. And actually, your father's mother would be called 奶奶. And then your mother's father would be called 公公, and your father's father would be called 爷爷. So just by, which title we give them, okay, this is the maternal grandma or the paternal grandfather, blah, 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 blah. And the same thing for brothers, sisters, cousins. So for example, in English, brother just means your sibling of male gender. Could be older, could be younger. But in Chinese, we say 哥哥. 哥哥 means an older brother and 弟弟 means younger brother. So it'd be like, oh, he's my 哥哥. So that way okay, he's older than you. Or, oh, he's my 弟弟. Okay, that means he's younger than me. And same thing for sisters. 姐姐 means older sister. 妹妹means younger sister. And in fact, in big families with multiple kids, often we say 一哥,二哥,三哥,四哥. So that's 1, 2, 3. In Chinese, you give numerals before calling them brother. So it'd be like, oh, that's my number 1 brother. Or that's my number 2 brother. Or I'd be like, oh, that's my number 4 younger brother. Or that's my number 5 older sister. And so it's very clear. There's never any room for confusion.
Are you sure about that?
And if you extend that out to cousins, I mean, in English, cousin could mean anyone from, you know, your parents or siblings. It could be your mom's side or dad's side. It could be first cousin, second cousin, third cousin. Who knows? But in Chinese, if let's say I had, for example, 堂姐, okay, so anybody who's 堂 means that they're a cousin on your dad's side. Anybody that's 表, like 表姐, means they're on your mother's side. So already that differential is very clear. And then, so for example, 堂姐 means my older female cousin who's on my dad's side, okay? Now, 表妹 would be like my younger female cousin on my mother's side. And the same thing for, you know, boys. Isn't that so amazing?
She didn't say yes.
Although it is a little hard to keep track of everybody because Chinese families tend to be really big and it can be confusing.
Spending a lot of time with Javon and Jador, obviously, as a new mom. And there are days where I feel like, could my mom have reincarnated to Javon? I feel like Javon might be my mom. There are days where I feel like, you know...
It's definitely someone related to you. In Buddhism, it's always someone that is related to you that comes back as your kid. I totally believe in reincarnation. People that are very sex-driven come back as pigeons. So for someone like Kevin, he might come back as a pigeon. Do you see any signs or like anything?
I do. Like Jador was calling Javon Popo. Is that weird?
Kids can usually see things. In the Buddhist belief, when you're young, you don't have all these attachments. So they have a third eye.
Totally agree. I believe in reincarnation. I also believe in what Kane says, that young children and also animals, they do have a third eye where they can see spirits. They can see beyond just the human realm because they have less attachments. And that's why when you learn things such as Qigong, you know, sort of how to use your energy and you're really focused, people who study Qigong and martial arts sometimes also can open their third eye because then they're starting to feel using energy. Let me know if you guys have ever seen ghosts. I do want to know. I personally, I feel like I've felt ghosts, but I've never actually seen one. Anyway, I'm really impressed with Kane's knowledge and wisdom on this topic.
Sure, it's a good sign. He's not crying.
While you're carrying him?
Yeah, it means I have good energy. Because when they cry with certain people, it means like there's a spirit with them.
Well, yeah, my mom adores you.
I'm gonna put it
So this actually reminds me of little babies and animals when they bark or cry or afraid of somebody. It means there's some kind of yin, like not a good, you know, spirit, like maybe a not good energy inside them. And I still remember years ago, a friend of ours was dating this really awful guy. He was so abusive. I mean, he was just really, really awful. And we were, you know, a couple of us friends were together. And my godson, who at that time was like 2 years old, was also there. And anytime he saw this guy, this guy came into the room, my godson just burst out crying, like no reason whatsoever. And my godson could not take his eyes off of this abusive guy. Even if he walked across the room, his head would be staring this guy because he was so scared. And you know what? True enough, I mean, thank God my friend broke up with him, but I mean, he was just a really, really evil energy guy.
I discovered that I'm 80% Korean, 20% Japanese. My thesis is somebody in the family mix was a little Japanese, and Koreans don't like Japanese at the time because they invaded Korea and colonized them.
Yeah.
Bingo. If there's one thing that we can all be sure of that Asians can all agree on is that nobody in Asia likes the Japanese because the Japanese were like the Nazis of Asia. And in fact, there's a running joke that, I mean, China and Korea doesn't always get along, but the one thing that they do agree on is their mutual dislike of the Japanese because Japan invaded both their countries, raped their women, and murdered a lot of their men and children. Oh, and of course, this went relatively unreported in the West because you guys were so busy worrying about Hitler. Look, I know this is controversial, and especially so because the Japanese rewrote their history books saying they were invited by all these Asian countries to enter their countries. And look, I have a lot of Japanese friends and I love going skiing in Niseko and eating food in Tokyo. But amongst the older generation of Chinese, this is a sore point. I just recommend that you read The Rape of Nanking to get an idea. One thing I do have to credit the Germans with though is that number one, they don't deny history, they acknowledge it, they apologize for it, they build mausoleums for Jews so that they can remember it, so that they will never repeat the same mistake. Germany has not rewritten history books saying that they were invited by all their neighboring countries to invade their countries. Anyway, so, as a Chinese person, I do feel that it's part of my duty to educate everybody about this little touchy part of history. And that is why we say that in northern parts of China, because northern China is what was invaded by the Japanese, especially in Heilongjiang, the northeast part of China, there are lots of places that we say are really spooky. And from a feng shui and death and spirit perspective, you really don't want to hang around those places because there was mass murders where people just buried alive, hundreds of people, thousands of people at a time. It's very scary. And in fact, when I went to Harbin, which is up there in northeastern China, there is a museum called 751 Museum. There was a former factory that the Japanese then when they invaded China, converted into their own lab to do all sorts of experiments on people. So all these villagers, all these people that lived near that factory would actually go missing in the dead of night because they were captured in the dead of night by Japanese, put in there and tortured and all sorts of really awful stuff. But I remember visiting that with my Hong Kong friends and you could feel the yin energy and the spirit. And what do I say about yin energy? Well, you've probably all heard of yin and yang. So yang is the sun, yang is strong, yang is the male. Yin is like the spirit world, the sort of undercurrent. So we always talk about yin and yang energy, and yin usually means the spirit realm.
Just love Javon, be happy that your mom's around, seeing the kids grow up, being around you. That's what you need.
There's no guide to dealing with how to lose your parent. It's not easy. Even 10 years down the road from now, it's not going to be easy for me.
Right on, Cherie. So episode 6 has been a dark and supernatural episode about death, about losing loved ones. But it's also been a learning lesson on how to employ Chinese spiritual thought in helping us overcome those challenges of losing someone. Because death is something that all of us will experience, whether we ourselves die or we lose someone close to us, guaranteed. No matter what our ethnicity, our background, how well educated we are, how much money we have, it's gonna happen. I think Cherie is processing this in a very emotionally healthy way. She's taking time to think about it on her own, but she's also talking about it with friends, with her husband. She's keeping an open mind. At the same time, she's being sentimental, she's letting herself be sad, but she's also maintaining a sense of humor. Most importantly, she's letting herself take time. All right, guys, let me know if you've ever lost a loved one and how that process was for you. Now remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for episode 7. See ya! Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be posting a new video each week who have tips and tricks that I think will help all of us lead a better life.